Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is so nice to be together. Hine matov u'manaim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is for us to be together, even a day after Yom Kippur. Welcome to all of you who have been brave enough to do what Judaism tells us to do. Jewish tradition, we pray 3 times a day. Not just once a week or twice a year, but 3 times a day. And in the exhaustion of the aftermath of Yom Kippur, it is easy to rest on our laurels and say, I'm going to take a Shabbat for myself. We're doing the same. We're all taking a Shabbat for ourselves. So we observe Shabbat. And we welcome it with light. I invite you to please turn in your Sidurim to page 2 for our candle blessings. And I'd like to invite my wife Sarah, son Ari, and daughter Maya to light our Shabbat candles.
Shel Shabbat.
We welcome Shabbat and the ministering angels of Shabbat on page 24 with the words and the melody of Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Having welcomed the ministering angels of Shabbat, we welcome the Sabbath bride. Page 20, Lecha Dodi. Tiferet ve'elitila lecha dodi nikrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri ki ba'orech kumi ori Adonai, alayich niglat lecha dodi nikrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Koi v'shalom עצרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמונה, עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. We remain standing as we turn to page 146 for our call to prayer. Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Vaed HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. We meditate on God's creation and God's abundant love for us as we prepare for Shema on page 149 as we proclaim God's oneness. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Please be seated. We'd like to invite Jackson Winter up to help lead us in chanting Ve'ahavta, page 150.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha lehayu hadvarim ha'elech asher anohi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha veshinanta am levanecha v'dibarta bam Beshivtecha abavetecha uvlektecha avadera uvshokbeha uvkumecha ukshartam leot aliodecha lehayu letotafot beinenecha uvtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אותם מארץ מצרים להיות להם אלוהי. אני אדוני אלוהיהם.
Page 152, we think about our freedom and we think about our Creator who helped us get here, who enabled us to be at this moment in time with each other.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו ביצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. Yismechu, page 154.
Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onei yismechu b'malchutcha. Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onei yismechu b'malchutcha shevim.
We rise in body, mind, and spirit as we begin our Tefillah.
Na 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 na,
מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע.
We know all too painfully well that no matter what the calendar says, it seems like this is always a time when our loved ones are in need of healing. This Shabbat, we're especially mindful of those within our community who are in need of healing. We're thinking of Ernie Abbott, Mark Edelman, Jerome Bernstein, Leslie Cohen and Rob Cohen, Samantha Farish, Denise Garrick, Evie Golden, Nancy Gordon, Mark Gould, Steve Gould, Ellen Hutt, Ruthie Jordan, Ava Kerno, Michal Batavida David, Bill Mills, Lisa Nelson, Mike Paternini, Mitch Reed, Sharon Ritter, Karen Romer, Galina Rubelchenko, Sue Ruskin-Mayer, Rhonda Schwartz, Cindy Spector, Patricia Spira, Julie Thompson, Maxine Trimble and Gerald Trimble, David Tossman, Fred Valfer, Kathy Weil and John Weil, George Wise, Sandy Wood, and Yaakov Avraham ben Fegelchana. If you're joining us virtually, I invite you to share the names that are on your heart, either in the chat or with those whom we are surrounded with. I also invite anyone in our congregation to share a name that's on their heart. Thank you. Page 253, our prayer for healing.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom.
and still, of course, the Shana Tova. When chronological events seem out of order in the Torah or through the holidays, the rabbis say, Ein mukdam v'ein muchar b'Torah. There is no early or late in the Torah. And while we are reading the poetry of Moses, his fascinating song tomorrow, as we near the end of the book of Deuteronomy, I am going to take the rabbi's adage and go with it and flip us over, and not back, into the book of Leviticus, which teaches, "You shall dwell in booths for 7 days, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt." The holiday of Sukkot, the holiday of tabernacles or booths celebrated worldwide by the Jewish community, is the third of our pilgrimage holidays, beginning with Passover and then Shavuot, when Jews would go up to Jerusalem and offer sacrifice of their harvest at the great temple. The holiday commemorates the Jews wandering in the desert after the exodus from Egypt and the fragility of the lives they lived in temporary dwellings called Sukkot along the way to the Promised Land for 40 years. 40 years of temporary. Every year on the 15th of Tishrei, and we are in the 11th or 12th today, the Jewish world celebrates Sukkot. The holiday begins Monday night. And just when are we going to build this booth, this fragile temporary dwelling, given the proximity of the high holidays to Sukkot? Well, some of you started after the break the fast. Others this morning, and even others, like Congregation Beth Israel, will rest up on Shabbat and build our magnificent sukkah in the courtyard Sunday morning. Check the website and please join us. The sukkah should consist of at least 2.5 walls and a roof made with branches and leaves, called by one of my favorite Hebrew words, schach. Can hardly say it, but I keep thinking about gurgling and gargling and brushing teeth and things like that. Palm fronds also work nicely for the roof. It is important that we can still see the sky through the branches while inside the sukkah. I want to encourage as many families as possible to build a sukkah. It could be in your backyard, on your porch, or join with a neighboring family and build one together. I sometimes use bamboo shades or even sheets to be the walls of my sukkah. Decorate with fall flowers, string cranberries and popcorn across the top. Use pumpkins, gourds, and other harvest vegetables on the walls and tables. Many families have their meals in the sukkah during the whole week, and some even sleep inside of it. By creating a temporary dwelling only for 1 week, we are reminded of the fragility of the lives of our ancestors as they wandered through the desert, and we connect ourselves to them. We are not much different. Our lives are fragile. Like hearing the sound of the shofar, or sounding one yourself, or fasting on Yom Kippur, building a sukkah is physicalizing the holiday. It is a way to put yourself into the holiday rather than make it a spectator sport. There's so much to learn and enjoy and physically act on during the holiday besides sleeping and eating in the sukkah. We use the arba minim, the lulav, and the etrog to remind us, on one level, of who we are. People with a straight spine, strong, with eyes to see beauty, lips to share truth, and the heart full of love and hope. And we use them to point east, west, south, north, south, up and down, and to remind us our Creator is everywhere. And then we have the opportunity to partake in one of my favorite customs, ushpizin. I'll say that one more time. Ushpizin, Sukkot guests. Each night or at any meal, we invite guests, ushpizin, and sometimes put their pictures or create our own art, and they are usually one of the great leaders of our people. Abraham, not likely we have a photo of him, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, King David and Solomon, and of course, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah, Ruth, the great judge Deborah, and in more modern times, perhaps people like Golda Meir, Moshe Dayan, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or Sandy Koufax. People who are no longer with us, or maybe, but people whom we would like to ask questions and have them sit in our Sukkot. So living guests are also acceptable. Think about it. This Sukkot, who would you like to invite in the past to your Sukkah? Could be a grandparent that you knew or perhaps never met, a former president of the United States. And what would you ask them? What would be the most important thing for you to know about them? What were their lives like? And how did they feel about the decisions that they made in their own lives? And perhaps what you would like them to know about you and your life now. Sukkot is a remarkable holiday of the Jewish people. Share it with your friends. Remind yourself of the fragility of our past and the present. Give them an opportunity to bring an ancient guest from their family or their tradition. Make Jewish history come alive for everyone. If you've never built a sukkah, try. Create for yourselves a Shehecheyanu moment, a first-time blessing, and know that this pilgrimage you make into your own lives and into our history and yours, just by making a temporary home, will bring you knowledge, blessings, and joy. I would like to invite Sarah Garrick to make some announcements. She's a member of our board of directors. Oh, it's not, no, sorry. No.
Nope. It should be on now. We're back. I just wanted to see if you were paying attention. Good evening to all of you and to all of you at home virtually. Don't adjust your screens. I really am making another set of announcements. I am Sarah Garrick. I'm honored to serve you as one of your board of directors. I'm going to do something a little bit different this evening. You know, dare to be different is kind of my thing. And I'm not going to remind you about the parking. I feel like you guys know this. You remember where you parked your car. You know that if you took a ticket, you needed to validate it. So I'm not going to tell you about that. That's just like a waste of time. And obviously, as RC said, you know how to find everything, cbisd.org, so you don't need me to remind you where to find everything, right? So let's just move on from that. I was thinking this evening about, you know, this time of year and things that we remember and people that we remember. And one of the folks that came to mind for me is RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This is actually the art site. We lost her a year ago this weekend. And she's personally one of the people that I try in my life and in my work to emulate, advocating, taking the road less traveled, and standing up in a room where everyone else is saying, you have no voice. And I think it's so key that as Jews and as people, that that's how we live our lives. And I wanted to sort of remind you what she used to say, which was, find something that you care about, and then fight for it, and do it in a way that causes people to join you. And I think that that is not just a good way to live, but I think it's the bedrock of our faith and who we are as Jewish people. And so I just wanted to remind you to find that, whatever that is, hold on to it, fight for it, stand up for it, and cause people to join you. Because you'd be surprised the voices that will join the chorus if you start singing first. Thank you for sharing with me this evening. Good Shabbos.
We begin to conclude our service with Aleinu. Won't you please rise, page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא זמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומועדים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Please be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who've departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and of death. When you hear the name of your loved one, whether here or at home, we invite you to rise so that we and your family can comfort you as community. I am sad to announce the recent death of Trudy Bohm, mother of Rabbi Lenore Bohm, and April Mondini, niece of Mendy Strebe. We are in the period of Shiva, the first 7 days after burial, for Sima Gapsky, cousin of Rhonda Schwartz, and Norman Berman, husband of Holly Berman, brother-in-law of Scott Ullman. And we are in the period of Shloshim, the 30 days after burial, for Robert Bennett, Howard Brotman, Phyllis Cohn, Ruth Moskowitz, and Charles Noodleman. And we remember those who died at this time in years past. David Warren Abbott, Susan Adelson, Al Alexander, Sam Apple, Charles August, Anne Marie Bacon, Celia Baker, Consuelo Behar, Jackson Belford, Rhoda Belloc, Philip Bennett, Sadie Berman, Bella Brantz, Barbara Baser Brockman, Fanny Brody, Paul Burgess, May Campbell, Sarah Codner, Stanley Cohen, Erwin Cohen, Rebecca Cohn, Anna Cooper, Philip Cooper-Smith, Geraldine Kroner, Frida Dorfman, David Eden, Tom Ellis, Samuel S. Fingert, Stanley Flaster, Molly Fox, David Gallinson, Sarah Goldberg, Paul Gould, Esther Grapple, Harry Greenspan, Rami Gross, Minnie Grossman, Ernest Haas, Harry Haskvitz, Lillian Reichlin Hine, Louis Higger, Neil Himmel, Robert Lawrence Hittleman, Dorothy Hittleman, Roy Hong, Irving Hosenpud, Goldie E. Kaplar, Teenie Kerr, Annette Karp, Arthur Klein, Jane Klein, Phyllis Lattarulo, Dorothy Leeds, Benjamin Levin, Henry Levy, Isaac Leibowitz, Goldie Lippy, Louise Levenstein Litwack, Bernard Luther, Hyman T. Moss, Max Major, Yale Markle, Mary Gorge Marshall, Renee Merker, Sanford Miller, Lena Miller, Isidore Mishik, Lawrence R. Mishik, Edward Moore, Elaine Moser, Al Nadler, Betty Nederlander, Ronald Neufeld, Edward Norrens, Ruth Peck, Herman Peller, Samuel Perlman, John Pollock, Mark Pollock, Rose Goldberg Pollock, Robert Ragsdale, Alice Rosenblatt, Alfred Rosenfeld, Bernard Rothenberg, Morris Rubin, Hella Salomon, Laura Schiller, Joseph Schulman, Steve Shane, Rabbi Chaim Silberman, Dale Silver, Jules Silverstein, Jack Simons, Ruth Chapman Singer, Faye Stein, Irene Stern, Irving Stone, Roseanne Stone, Harry Tenenbaum, Marilyn Tishkoff, Thelma Trimble, Milton Ullman, Rena Valfer, Daniel Wittenson, Kurt Weinbach, Francis Sachs Weiner, David Weiser, Ella Whitty, Lisa Wiviet, Nathan Zung, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. If there's a name you are saying Kaddish for and I have not called it, we invite you to rise and share that name with us. And at home, you can share those names, please, in this chat, if you would. We're thinking of you as well. We rise together as community, page 294, Kadisha Tome. Itgadal v'itgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bialma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala ubisman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shmei d'kudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yasdeh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories always be a blessing. Put down your sidurim. If you're standing with someone and you're comfortable, put your arms around them. We close our service tonight with Oseh shalom.
Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen. tevel ve'imru.
Shabbat Shalom, and wishing you in advance Chag Sameach.